Okay, here is an original effect using Bessey sequences and card spellers together. So as you can see here, I have the 4 7s and the 4 8s. Now these can be randomized within each set of cards here, however you like. And then have the spectator tell you how to stack these. We'll stack them like that. And then from there, as the performer, you're going to deal out the cards into a triangle configuration like this. And then we just stack in opposite order. Now from here, we can mix the cards in many, many ways that you can offer to the spectator if you would like. You don't need to do all of these, but there are many additional shuffles that you could use that I won't be able to show you here today. In fact, the packet now can be mixed in over 1,000 unique ways and not harm the outcome of this effect. So why don't we just do some of the basic ones. This is just a left-right shuffle. Spectator decides how to stack those. Now you can do one of these, none of these, or many of these, with random stacking decided by the spectator, of course. We can deal into 4 piles in this fashion. Spectator's free to stack the top row on the bottom or bottom on top. Free choice. Left on right or right on left. Right on left. Okay. Some additional mixing is we could do a mange over, under, over, under, over, under, over. You could also do an under, over, under, over. We could do a Bessey 1-1. This is where you take the top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top. Last one goes on top. In fact, we can even do it in doubles. So 1, 2 from the top, 1, 2 from the bottom, 2 from the top, 2 from the bottom. Okay. Now you don't need to do all of those, but those are some of the things you could do. We could do an even or odd up jog. This is where I'm jogging forward the even position cards. The spectator decides how to stack these right on left. We could do an ordinary down under or a left right down under. We can even do a left right double down under. Okay, you haven't seen that before. So here you go down on the left, down on the right, under, under, down on the left, down on the right, under, under, down on the left, the right, under, under, down on the left, down on the right. Okay, that is an extremely destructive mixing procedure. You want right on left, you want left on right, okay? Or if you like, just do a regular down, under, down, under. And you can even ask the spectator how many times to perform that. And we can always do an ordinary Klondike. This is where you take the top and bottom off as one. In fact, we can even do an alternate Klondike. This is where you go left, right, random stack. So many choices. So just choose maybe 2 or 3 of those. Once the spectator is convinced that the cards are beyond the knowledge of anyone, what you do is you take a look at the identity of the top card. Looks like it's the 8 of spades. And so we're simply going to spell out 8 of spades. So E-I-G-H-T-O-F of S-P-A-D-E-S. 8 of spades. And then from here, I'm going to simply call on my magical sequence 3, 2, 1 in the following way. I'm going to push off the top 3 cards. I'm going to then Klondike 2 pairs, so 3, 2, and then set the remaining single card on the left, which is 1. 3, 2, 1. Okay, well, what has that done for us? Just think about all of the choices that were made by you, the spectator, or choices that you can offer the spectator. And then that brings a random card from this packet of 8 to the top. We just spelt the card name, and then I use this 3, 2, 1 to separate the cards. Well, our hope is that we've done something interesting with the cards. So let me bring them down here. We'll kind of reveal them here. Okay, well, that's interesting. Of course, 8 and a 7. We would expect one or both of those cards. Okay, that's interesting. Of course, we got 2 red and 2 black and a red there. Okay, it's getting very interesting. In fact, depending on what these are, we're going to have a perfect division of the 7s from the 8s. Did we succeed? We did indeed. That is amazing. How were you able to make such perfect choices throughout this routine that would lead to a perfect separation of the 7s from the 8s? Please tell me how you did that. Okay, so how did we do that? Well, we're just using a few ideas on the Absolute Math Magic channel. First thing to do is just have the 7s and 8s. They can be randomly stacked. Okay, the first key step that is required, we did a triangle deal, stacking in opposite order. Okay, now what that does is it converts the packet to a Bessey sequence of order 8. Okay, so for those who have studied these, you'll recognize it right away. In fact, let me just bring a little write-up over here. So the kind of organization we're looking for is something like this, like a 1, 0, 0, 1, and then 0, 1, 1, 0. Or translated into 7s and 8s, it would look like this, or possibly the opposite of this, where you have 8, 7, 7, 8, 7, 8, 8, 7. Okay, so any of those are what we call a Bessey sequence of order 8, which we have. We have 8, 7, 7, 8, 7, 8, 8, 7. Okay, so why is this organization of the cards important or valuable? Well, it's because it can be mixed in so many different ways and not harm it. Okay, so all of that alternate optional dealing I showed you can be performed, as well as other mixing procedures, and not harm this. Okay, so once you've done that mixing to the satisfaction of the spectator, from there you just look at whatever the top card is. This time it's the 8 of clubs. I think it was 8 of spades in the original, right? And so if we just spell out 8, E-I-G-H-T, of O-F, clubs, C-L-U-B-S, what's going to happen is you're going to get one of two organizations. Okay, so I'll just put these out here. So maybe just to quickly recap. So for this, you need 8 cards whose card value names have 5 letters. That's important. So you could use 3s, 7s, 8s, or queens. Okay, so you need 8 cards all together. I decided to go with the 7s and 8s. I've organized it as a Bessey sequence. Now I can add a link in the description below to Bessey sequences so you can learn about those and have a better idea as to what these really are and the amazing things you can do with them. And then you mix it thoroughly without destroying that organization. And I showed you some of the mixing you can do and be safe. And then we use the name of the new top card for a card spelling procedure. Okay, so after the card spelling procedure, this is what will happen. Okay, you will get either an organization like this. Now, if you want to replace the 1s, as I mentioned here, you can replace the 1s with 7s in your mind's eye. So 7, 8, 8, 7, and so forth. And then you can replace the, quote, 0s with 8s. Okay? So the idea here is the top 3 cards will be of one kind. Let's just check that really fast. Is that true? Are the top 3 cards of one kind? They are indeed. They're all 8s. Okay? Now, the next 2 cards after that, slide these up and out of the way. The next 2 cards from there, 7, 7, will be of the same kind. And then you'll get the other card, namely 8, and then you'll get another couple of 7s. Okay? So you'll get either this structure here or the same structure with the 8s and 7s switched. Okay? But in either case, if you just use this 3, 2, 1 mnemonic, all you need to do is push off the top 3 into a left pile, Klondike 2 pairs of cards into a right pile, and then set the remaining single, so 1 card, on top of the left pile. So 3, 2, 1. Okay? So right here, all I would need to do is push off the top 3. Now Klondike 2 pairs, 1 pair, 2 pairs, and then the single card 1 card goes on the left, 3, 2, 1. And that is guaranteed to separate the 7s from the 8s. Okay. Now we may not know whether the 7s or 8s are on the left or right, but that doesn't really matter because the goal was to separate them in the first place, or at least have that as a surprising ending despite all of the random, unpredictable choices and unknown choices that you made along the way. Okay, so that's the secret. So take a look at the Bessey sequence playlist. I not only talk about the mathematics behind these remarkable sequences, but I also talk about Quasi-Bessey sequences. And of greater interest to more of you, I give dozens of applications, fun card effects using these packet structures. So thank you for watching, and take a look at other videos on the Absolute Math Magic channel.